the NFL. I thought it would have been a bad look for Deshaun not to even give Culley a platform, let him even meet with him or talk with him. Even if he didn't want to play there anymore, I still think it was a good look, and I'm glad he did sit down and meet with David Culley. Now, this question, this is tough because part of me is like, look, if you got a guy that is that adamant about leaving your franchise, then go ahead, as much as you like him, as good as he is, as young as he is, get a king's ransom for him. Trade him to the Jets and get the second pick and a host of first-round picks and rebuild your football team. You were bad last year with Deshaun. You can be bad without him. So that part of me says that, and that seems to be the logical thinking. But then there's the pride part of me. And pride says, hold up. We have all the leverage. The Houston Texans are not just blowing smoke when they say, we don't want to trade him. We have no intention of trading him. They have all of the leverage, guys. He's 25 years old. He just signed the 4-year, $156 million contract. His only option, if he doesn't want to play for the Texans, if they insist on not trading him, is essentially to retire.
Or sit.
He could sit out. Yeah, he could sit out, but even he could get fined. Remember, the new CBA, the fines cannot be forgiven. So all that, remember with Zeke, he sat out, all those fines daily for missing training camp and all that, those were forgiven. Now they can't be forgiven. He could lose about over $3 million if he sat out the preseason. All right? And then if he really wanted to play hardball and say, you know what, I'll retire rather than play for the Texans, they could demand, you know what, that $27 million signing bonus we gave you, we want 21.6 of it back. Yeah. All right, give us that money back. Then if Deshaun was like, well, I'll retire, if he wanted to come back at any point, guess who would have his rights?
They still got
the Houston Texans. Yeah. And it wouldn't be just till 2025. The 4 years would start, or maybe even 5 years would start when Deshaun re-entered the league. So that's not even to mention, guys, that they could franchise him for 3 years. That's crazy, but if they want, they have his rights. He has no leverage. So that's the pride part of me. But all that said, I do think at the end of the day, Deshaun Watson will be traded before next season.
All right,
because you just don't want to bring that into your locker room.
Yeah.
And I know you can look at it theoretically and say, well, look, he'd have to play. He loves the game. He'd have to play at his best ability. It doesn't help him to go out there and mope and sulk and look bad. James Harden did it. James Harden had already established himself as a Hall of Fame player. All right, Deshaun Watson is young. He's building, so he can't really do that. You can say that in theory, but he's a human being. If he really doesn't want to be there, it's going to show, and he probably won't, even if he tries to play his best, won't be at his best. So I think at the end of the day, they're going to trade him for a king's ransom.
It sets a dangerous precedence if they just continue to allow a player to force themselves out of the team situation. It doesn't work like that in the NFL. It works like that in the NBA. It's much different. He will be a Houston Texan. And here's what the Houston Texans are banking on, Chris and Mac. They're banking on the fact that a disgruntled, upset, over it, Deshaun Watson will have enough pride in himself and his abilities to not devalue himself or defame himself by playing pout ball. He's not going to pout. He's not going to. So the only option Deshaun has to really overcome not getting the trade that he wants is to sit out. That's the only way to overcome it. Because if they do not get rid of him and he is forced to play for this Houston Texans team, he will play. This was not about us being brothers when he went in there and saw David Culley. You know what this was about? This was about going in and appealing to the new head coach and letting him know that you have stepped into a situation that you have no idea how messed up, and not in those terms, that this situation is here in Houston. And I would suggest to you, you do the best that you can to figure it out so that you don't ruin your coaching career moving forward, because it could go so bad that you don't ever get another opportunity to coach as a head coach. As for me, Coach, please, if you have an ounce of care, sympathy, empathy, any type of compassion for me as a young man aspiring to be all that I can be in life and in this world to make a difference, please, Coach Sully, please allow me to have a trade, please. And that's what took place in that meeting. I can guarantee you, I've been there before.
I'm shocked that you guys don't think he's gone. I mean, they have basically 62 days left before the draft.
I just said he's gone.
The Texans will definitely trade him. Oh, well, okay.
Chris said he's gone. I'm saying he's going to be
First of all, LeVar, you know how this game works in the NFL, okay?
I do.
Deshaun Watson has one of the most powerful agents in the league. He got Jalen Ramsey paid big bank, okay? If you set the precedent where you're Houston, you say, we're not gonna trade you, you're going to come play. And Watson says, I'm not playing. I'm sorry. I'm going to sit out. You lied to me. The owner looked me in the face and told me I could have input and you'd listen to what I was saying, and you lied to me. And I can't, we can't get past that. And they just say, fine, we're not trading you. You can sit out. Watson has made it clear to a lot of reporters. You can read between the tea leaves, and you'll see that a lot of reporters are saying Watson is prepared to sit out the season. Now, maybe that's just negotiating, but LeVar, I think it's a horrible look for the Texans if they just say, fine, you could sit out. We're going to be crappy. What free agents are going to want to go there and play for that dumpster fire, that disaster in Houston, when you know they treat the players like crap? Okay? That's a bad look for Houston. I think the team to focus on here is Carolina. And, Chris, you mentioned my Jets. I would love it, but I don't know if it's going to happen. Carolina has a new owner, a billionaire hedge fund guy. Okay? You know what these hedge fund guys do. First moves, right out of the gate, Ron Rivera, see ya. Cam, thank you for your service. These hedge fund guys look for distressed assets and flip them quickly. Deshaun Watson is exactly that, a distressed asset in Houston. He's waving the white flag. Please come and save me. These first-round draft picks, guys, are borderline overrated at this point. If you look at Carolina's last 4 first-round picks, okay, Derek Brown, Brian Burns, DJ Moore, Christian McCaffrey, you're telling me you wouldn't flip that in a heartbeat for Deshaun Watson? These first-round draft picks, guys, I know they have value, but you shed 4 of them to Houston.
Just be careful on how you're talking about first-round draft picks.
Okay, I know there's a couple defensive guys in there. LeVar was a first-round pick.
Yeah, all right.
But
just be
Deshaun Watson, LeVar, he's a top 5 quarterback in the league.
Right.
You do this in a heartbeat. Chris, the clock is ticking. I mean, they got to make a move here. There's no way they keep Watson and keep him on the bench. No way.
You're both wrong. You keep him.
Look, like I said, I get where you're coming from, LeVar, and I hear you. But J-Mac is right. The Houston Texans have a business to run.
Yep.
You know, if Deshaun sat out the season, if Deshaun retired, yeah, they could pound their chest and say, we got him. We told him. We didn't let him, bulldoze us into trading him. But then your team is still jacked up. You don't have your quarterback, Chris, and you don't have the assets you would have gotten for him.
Why would Deshaun Watson put himself in economic distress? You got to keep in mind, this is only his second contract. That first contract money probably, let's be real, all right? Even if you're a good kid and you don't, and I'm not saying you're a bad kid if you spend your money. I'm just saying that rookie contract money is not hitting the same as this new contract. Why would you take away all, and this is very important, people, listen to this. Why would you give away all of your financial leverage by sitting out and disqualifying yourself of the contract that you've earned? That means all these other teams out here that get an opportunity to get a hold of you can play hardball with you on a different level than what they will right now. You have no leverage. If you sit out, you really have no, think about it this way. The reason why, because I know y'all think of like maybe Le'Veon Bell, he went and got paid, this, that, and the other. All right. If he sits out, and like you said, those penalties are not, they're not going to be forgiven. If you're saying I've played my last game there, you are putting yourself in an economic situation that there's no reason for you to do it. So if I'm Houston, I'm going to play that hand. I'm going to play that hand, and I'm going to say, look at it this way. Let me put it to you in terms like this. If I have LeBron James on my team under contract and he doesn't want to play for me, I'm banking on the fact that a LeBron James that is not happy with where he's at is still better than any other player that we would bring in here and try to replace him with. I'm not giving him away. If I'm Houston, there is nothing I can